Hey everypone, this is Digibrony once again, here to knock out the rest of Section 2 of my absurdly long Q&A. This is continuing the section in which I talk about personal questions and questions that have nothing to do with My Little Pony. So, let's cut to the chase. Question 1. Have you ever tried pen and paper role-playing? If so, do you have a story from there to share? Yes! My friends and I have started playing Dungeons & Dragons sometime last year. We stopped because I had work and wasn't around all the time, and it's really hard to organize everyone to find time to play Dungeons & Dragons. Right now, it's because the reason I'm not playing now is because Victor's in school and he's out all the time. And for me, I enjoyed the imaginative aspect and the role-playing aspect, but the part where I have to write down all my stats on a constant fucking basis, I can't take that. But anyway, so I play a tiefling whose name is Nigger Rafiki. I started the game with 5,000 bottles of ale and nothing else. So I use the ale to get through most situations. I'll throw it at enemies, throw it at obstacles, burn shit. Nigger Rafiki is true neutral, and he mostly just doesn't get that involved in stuff because I'm always scared I'm gonna die because I usually don't have much armor. Obviously, I've gotten better equipment since the game started, but mostly I just get drunk and start singing Circle of Life and run around doing nothing. I also have a kid who I took in at one point. His name is, I don't remember what his original name was, but he became Snoop Lion when he became a man. And he was like this 12-year-old kid, and at first everyone was trying to get him killed, and he just kept having all this horrible stuff happen to him. And Nigger Rafiki, being true neutral, doesn't ever try to help anyone when they're dying. He just prays for them after they die because he believes in the circle of life. So he also practices the religion Maidik, and so one of the dungeons we did was Maidik Temple, which I created. And there was one point where Snoop Lion had his basically to close this. There was this portal that, in order to close it, someone had to eat the stuff that made them gold and then jump into the portal. And so this was used to kill. Victor had a dragon that was like his girlfriend, and he had to sacrifice her to close a portal one time. But one time I had the kid, Snoop Lion was golden, and they were like, oh, throw him into the portal. And instead I just cut his dick off and threw that into the portal, and it worked. And that took him to Maidik Temple, and he got a new dick, which was absurdly long. Anyway, the point is that everything we do in D&D is definitely a crazy story worth telling. Next question. Have you seen Gosick, and if so, what was your opinion on that? I actually have the first book of Gosick up there, which I got in 2008. I bought it mostly because my favorite translator worked on it. It was pretty good. I'm not a big fan of the mystery genre, but I liked the book. Then I tried to watch the anime when that came out years later, and that was just awful. The main guy is just fucking intolerable. He's just a douche hat, and I can't stand to watch him. You know, the girl, what was her name? Victorique. She's adorable, and she's played by what was her name? What is it? Anyway, great voice actress and everything. Great role, but just the guy was so annoying. I couldn't watch the show, and the way it was done, it felt really rushed, and the mysteries just were not interesting to me. So I gave up after 8 episodes. Do you prefer day or night? I tend to be way more productive at night, so I choose night. I don't like it when I sleep through the entire day because I just feel like I've missed out on daylight, but I am more productive working through long stretches of nighttime. What would you want your RL name to be if you were a girl? Baroness. I want to be a girl named Baroness. If any, which animes managed to give you teary eyes? Well, this is fun because up until about 2010, I think, I was actually keeping track of every tear that I shed in anime. I haven't kept a good track of this since then, but I have a count. So the first tear that I ever shed while watching an anime was during the show Ken in 2006, when Nayuki, her mom, gets hit by a car, and when she has an emotional breakdown about it, I cried then. My second tear was during the last episode of Eureka 7 the first time I watched it. My third and fourth tears were shed during the ending of F: A Tale of Memories the first time I watched that. My 5th tier was during the second to last episode of Eureka 7 when I rewatched the show, which, by the way, Victor and my friend Don, my best friend, whose name I will not finish, not that it matters, but anyway, they both cried like crazy through almost all of Eureka 7, and like for 20 minutes after watching the last episode. Tiers 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Nose Run 1, and Choke Up 1 all happened during the Fuko arc of Clannad. It's like episode 9, and it's funny because it's not that I cared that much about what was happening. I ended up dropping the show after like 14 episodes, but the way it was presented was so intense and emotional that it made me just lose my shit. Later, I also, at the end of Angel Beats, I completely lost it. But after that, I haven't really kept track. I don't think maybe I just haven't cried since then during an anime. I'm not sure. Miss Smarty Pants asks, if xy equals 1, what is the value of 2 times x plus y to the second power divided by 2 times x minus y to the second power? Fucking Time Chaser asks, are you a vegan, vegetarian, or normal? Well, I'm not a vegan or a vegetarian. I just enjoy meat a lot. I eat a lot of meat. I also eat like no vegetables or fruits. I have the worst diet. Not that you can't have a good, like, my friend is on keto and he's lost like 150 pounds on that shit and all he eats is meat, but I just don't have the wherewithal to not eat any carbs, so yeah. Anyway, Static Panda asks, which anime would you recommend to people, non-mainstream if possible, please? Well, since you specifically asked for non-mainstream stuff, I'm just gonna go through my favorites list and pick all the most obscure shit I can find. So you should watch Alien 9, Gakuen Utopia Manabi Straight, Horo Musuko, Kamichu, Kara no Kyokai, Kurenai, Kuchu Branko, Kyoran Kazoku Nikki, Mugen no Revias, Otaku no Video, Revolutionary Girl Utena, Riding Bean, Seikon no Quasar, The Soul Taker, Summer Wars, Techno Lies, and The Sky Crawlers. If you need any of those spelled, just check the text version of this post. Tenrania asks, you said ask anything, so Homestuck it is. Arania being one of my favorite characters, followed by Vriska and Mindfang, as well as Rose. In addition to my self-analyzed class and aspect to be the Mage of Light, I can definitely say that I have a strong preference for the light aspect. Do you have anything similar? Which characters do you like the most, and for what reasons? I myself spend time thinking about the titles of players and how a player with a theoretical title would be. Have you done any of this at all? Actually, no, I have not given much thought to the titles, because I don't entirely understand their meanings. I feel stuff like that in Homestuck, it often will go through a lot of changes of what it is or what it means as the story goes along. So until that stuff has been fully explored, I really don't even want to think about it. And it's also really complex, and keeping track of all those kind of details about the story are the stuff I have a hard time keeping track of. You know, I'm mostly sort of passive in my appreciation of Homestuck. I don't dive too deep into it or think about it too much outside of reading the story and reading Hussey's own analysis of it. But my favorite characters are, in no order, Carcat, because he's constantly just self-loathing and just a fail inferno. He's a lot like Victor. That's Victor's favorite character is Carcat, because he relates to him a lot, because he's just angry all the time. I know he didn't seem that way in these videos, and Victor's also calmed down a lot since the past 6 months or so, but he used to be a lot like Carcat, just constantly exploding and hating himself. I love Terezi because, you know, she's just cool and fun. Everyone likes Terezi. You can't dislike her. Vriska because she's just this ultimate manipulating bitch. I love her. I actually relate a lot to Vriska. The specifics of how I manipulate people are very similar to Vriska. Mina, I don't know how to pronounce it, Meenah, she's just really cool. Arania is also, like, pretty much she's just hot, honestly. Both of the Strider brothers are just, they're perfect characters. They were written so incredibly well. It's, like, impossible not to like the Strider brothers. So, and both, the Lalondes, not the Strider brothers, I don't know why I said that. Father, son, no, they are brothers, that's right. So yeah, the Strider brothers. Anyway, I think they're brothers. Homestuck! Anyway, the Lalondes are both pretty awesome for the same reason. Levshu asks, which of any of these questions from all these people is your favorite question? All the ones that I've given these gigantic answers to have been some of my favorites. I like the ones where people keep asking me about what I would do and I get teleported to Equestria because I always give these stupid bullshit answers that are fun to write. The one that made me burst out laughing was someone who will, in a minute, ask, "Bro, do you even lift?" Because I say that shit all the time lately. The next question is Nichols Fox. Which web browser do you prefer? And, you know, I kind of get the impression from the name Nichols Fox that he might be a Firefox fan, potentially. I use Google Chrome all the way. It's simple, it's effective, it's fast. I switched over to it as soon as it came out, and I never looked back. And I also have a Twilight Sparkle Chrome skin, just as a fun fact. Grim Palson asks, why are you so epic? I ate Odin. Matt2 asks, have you ever heard of Super Sentai and Kamen Rider? Yes, I am familiar with both franchises. I watched about 22 episodes of Samurai Sentai Shinkenger back when that was, I think it was around the time it was ending that I started watching it. And I was really enjoying it and really into it, but I just did not end up finishing it for some reason. I think I wanted to watch the first movie and that it wasn't subbed yet or something. I don't remember. But I never got around to finishing it, which is typical of me. I actually watched the first few episodes of Kamen Rider Decade when that was coming out. And I didn't know what was happening, but I thought it was fucking cool. But I've never taken the time to get into it. My friend has seen all of Kamen Rider, so I'll probably get him to tell me what to watch. I've heard that they're all like exactly the same, though. Ultimate Barn asks, have you ever been to the UK, and if so, what did you think of it? Well, I haven't been there, but I suspect that if I did, I would probably just melt, because I love British accents, and I'd just be turned on all day. Rivanan Samus asks, would you rather own a male version of Samus' suit, or a Gundam of your choice? Okay. Having Samus' suit would be insanely badass, right? I can, like, do anything. I feel amazing. I can jump super high. I can run super fast. I've got a gun for an arm. I can turn into a ball. How cool is that, right? But, dude, a fucking Gundam. Of course I'm gonna pick the Gundam. And since you said of your choice, specifically, I want Turn A Gundam, because that mustache. True Zangetsu asks, can I be your new best friend? Well, I already have a best friend, but you can be my friend. But, my best friend has a very reserved position. Ooh, Anonymous asks, how is your brainwashing coming along? Well, the stains aren't coming out. Ender asks, what can change the nature of a man? This apparently is a reference, because I googled it. But the question I ask of you is, what is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets! But enough talk! Have at you! So yeah, I answered your reference was an unrelated reference. TK asks, how many times did you stop while recording this? Well, let's see. Well, obviously there's all the stops between making the episodes. There's the stops during the episodes, which you've seen every time the camera cuts, or when I went to the bathroom a lot during the drunk episode. So, I don't know, you count. Since you care so much. What's your favorite muffin flavor? I don't have one. I'm not really a big muffin fan. What is your opinion on dynamite? It explodes things? If you could punch a star, would you? Fuck yes. I'd prefer to have a mech so that my hand doesn't die. Aiden of VT asks, will you change the picture at the top of this page? I'm guessing you mean the page that you asked the question on, and no, that's my incredibly adorable Terra Online character, Falario Fa. She is very relevant to both the title and the content of my site. She has a sword, so it can be incredibly dull. She's adorable. She has pink hair, which is important. I designed her, so, well, you know, kind of. So it's nice to have her up there because it's an original, you know, a semi-original character. And her name is Falaria Fa, which is a reference to Garzy's wing, which is where the line is, my sword is unbelievably dull comes from. Pierce Jones asks, Dear Digibrony, do you condenser Maryland and Virginia a part of the South because they are very different from other southern states like Alabama or South Carolina, yet the U.S. Census marks both as part of the South, which I did not know that. I've never participated in a census. I don't really consider us to be in the South. I know Virginia is historically considered South because probably because we were part of the I think we're part of the Confederacy. And but I don't think we have much in common with the South these days. We've got a lot of city folk, a lot of people from Virginia or who live in Virginia now are from New York. We vote blue now, so I don't know. As far as I'm considered, we're not South. And Maryland's above us, so yeah, they're definitely North. I don't even think Maryland was part of the Confederacy, so they're uber North. Maranway asks, recently my sister and I crossed and compared Yu-Gi-Oh! And MLP. I stated that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is just MLP for boys, since the friendship is powerful lesson is prominent in both shows, and we proceeded to make a list of which Yu-Gi-Oh! Characters lined up with which ponies, like Yugi being Twilight and Joey being Rainbow Dash. It was totally weird. So my question is, do you like Yu-Gi-Oh? If so, which pony do you think compares best with Yugi? And that's little Yugi, not the Pharaoh. Some fans don't see the difference so well. And if not, what anime would you cross with MLP in this way? For that last part, pretty much any, because most anime are about friendship. It doesn't even matter if it's a kid's show or an adult show, any show. Most anime is about friendship, ultimately. So, I mean, if I was going to pick something to cross with MLP, it's going to be a magical girl show, because they're practically the same thing. That's why I got into MLP, is because it reminded me of magical girl shows. But Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a decent comparison. I was a big fan of Yu-Gi-Oh! When I was 11, like, really big, and my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck still holds up. I can probably beat you at Yu-Gi-Oh! Unless you're, like, actually good. I'm just, like, regular good. But I have a really strong deck. And nobody ever beats me at Yu-Gi-Oh! I also am totally willing to cheat. Twilight is probably a good enough comparison to Yu-Gi-Moto, which means that Seto Kaiba gets to be Trixie. Anonymous asks, what is your llama like? I don't even fucking... Anonymous asks, Autobots, Decepticons, or Omnicons? What the fuck is an Omnicon? Seriously, I don't know. Devil Hooves asks, if you could had anything in the world, what would it be? A check for $1 billion. I would like $1 billion. And I'd like to be able to cash that check for $1 billion. And if I can't have that, I'll take the Large Hadron Collider, and I'll sell it for like $1 billion. Raznak asks, describe your typical workflow. I'll just read this big-ass paragraph, because it looks like it's probably funny. My typical workflow is like, I get on the computer and I dick around for 15 minutes, and then I start thinking about what I want to make a video about, and then I dick around for another 15 minutes, and then I spend an hour or two possibly writing the video, and then I dick around for like an hour, and then I possibly record myself reading the post in like 15 minutes, and then dick around for another hour, and then I throw the track into Vegas and probably go to bed. The next day I wake up, dick around for 15 minutes, then I start putting together the Digibrony talking track, which takes about half an hour, then I dick around some more, and finally I spend 1 to 3 hours putting in the rest of the video. Depending on how long the video is, I may also dick around considerably during this process. If I'm doing a headcanon video, cut out all of the dicking around, and cut all the time into a fifth of what I said before. Once the video is put together, I very quickly put together the timetable and gather all the links for the description while the video is rendering and uploading. So that sounds about right. I know it makes it sound like I mostly dick around, but when you don't do anything except make these videos, you can take as long as you want, and it'll still feel like you're putting out a video constantly. Ever try your hand at programming? If so, do tell. I think if I even looked at a programming language, my head would explode. I do not even begin to grasp anything like that. What do you typically do when not discussing the finer points of everybody's favorite children's show? Well, when I'm not doing that and or dicking around, which at this point you're sure I do a lot of, I hang out with my brothers a lot, and my friends, and I drink, and I'm finally starting to get back into playing video games, which is why this weekend I'm just gonna throw all my cares away, play video games, and eat chicken. Strepai asks, do you speak any languages other than English? If so, which? I can't speak any languages with any degree of fluency, but I have a pretty good comprehension of Japanese. Like, good enough that if a show comes out that's really meant for 5-year-olds and I watch it raw, I can pretty much understand everything they're saying. I can read Japanese except kanji, which pretty much means I can't read Japanese. But yeah, when the Japanese MLP dub starts, I'm just gonna watch it raw, because I've seen the show so many times, there's a pretty good chance I'll be able to understand everything. Can you pronounce this sentence? It's in Dutch. I can try. It looks like De Nederlands Bronies zijn geweldig. I don't know what Dutch is supposed to sound like, but the Netherlands Brony Zijin geweldig. Hopefully. Jonal or Saint Jonal asks, bacon or Oreos? Bacon, no contest. Mika Halaga asks, I happen to know you like PTH after I commented about how you look like a fusion of Luke and Tim from the band. My question is, what's your favorite PTH album and how do you think their fourth album will turn out? PTH stands for Protest the Hero, and I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm actually not a big fan. I kind of just know that one song that I quoted in response to you. I've listened to the Skrillex album a number of times. I like it, but I'm not usually in the mood for it. And when I am in the mood for it, I usually listen to Doppelganger by Fall of Troy instead, because I like that album more, and it's kind of along the same lines of like really fast-paced, technical, hardcore-ish music. So yeah, I don't really know Protest the Hero that well, but if their new album comes out and everybody's like, dude, you gotta check this out, it's really awesome, then I'll give it a listen. Anonymous asks, have you ever eaten fresh flesh? Not of a human yet. The Brazen Pirate asks, I wonder, can you stare into people's souls? What would you say? Skloosh asks, do you like the Pokemon game series? If so, favorite Pokemon game? My favorite one is actually probably White, although I did not finish it, but I was just blown away the whole time I was playing it. Soul Silver is super boss, because like Silver was my favorite game growing up. I was hugely into that one. So when I played Soul Silver, it was like part nostalgia trip, part it's just awesome. But then White is just like, because it's so much more advanced, it's just like, wow, this is fucking just great looking. I haven't played Black and White 2 at all. And now what's the new one? X and Y or something like that? Oh, what's the fucking new games? Yeah, I think it's Pokemon X and Y that looked just like, I'm glad to see that the games are constantly like improving on a graphical level and stuff. Modern gaming or old school gaming? I agree with the idea that in any medium, things are always getting better, because we always have more history to learn from and more technology to expand upon. So games are always going to keep getting better. My choice of the greatest game ever made is Dark Souls, and that could not have existed with any technology before what we have now. If I was to compare it to an older game, it would be like Mega Man X, which is one of the best games of its time as well. And the ideas of that game are really expanded on in Dark Souls, but it's so much bigger than Mega Man X could ever have been. So, the fact that there are games that are out now that basically do what those classic games did, but are updated, means that the new generation is just like necessarily better. And also, we can make games that are exactly like the old ones if we want to. There's no reason we can't go back and make those games. There's so many indie games that come out right now that mimic the old school style. So, and usually add something to make it even better. So like, old Metroid games are amazing, and then we have something like Cave Story that takes that idea and even expands on that. I don't necessarily prefer Cave Story to Super Metroid, but you get the point that games can constantly be getting better. When does the narwhal bacon? At midnight. Yes, that's a real thing. Equalizer is Death asks, would you be interested in reading the visual novel Umineko no Naku Koro ni? I watched the Umineko anime a few years ago, and I really enjoyed it, so I wanted to play the game, and the artwork of the game is just atrocious, so it was hard for me. I don't know if the manga is supposed to be like more accurate adaptation of the game, but if it is, then I'll read that, because the art was really great in that. But I really have no patience for visual novels. I actually own the first Higurashi visual novel, and I haven't played it for more than like 10 minutes, just because it's so hard for me to concentrate on those things. Anonymous asks, do you watch Gravity Falls? Yes, I watched the first 6 episodes when there was about 6 episodes, and I was just blown away. I loved it. I watched those episodes twice, and then I never really got track of when the new episodes were coming out, so I didn't end up keeping up with it. So I keep saying I'm going to catch up, but I haven't found the time to actually. Maybe I'll do it this weekend, since I'm supposed to be banning myself from ponies for the weekend. Anonymous asks, what is your favorite dinosaur? Fucking Velociraptor? I mean, you can call me unoriginal, but it's a velociraptor, dude. I've been watching raptors since I was 6, you know. Clever girl. Do you like Mudkips? Sure. Scootaflu, how does Slenderman eat? He's got no mouth. Look, why do you come to me with these questions? Ask a Slenderman expert. Maybe he just absorbs shit through his skin or something. Do you like garlic toast? Yes. What's your favorite game on the N64? This is actually a real question. So the N64 is the first console that I grew up on, but I haven't played it much as an adult. The only N64 game I've played anytime recently was Banjo-Kazooie, which I played while Game Grumps were playing it, and then they stopped, and I kind of lost motivation. And also the game got really fucking hard, and the death system is horrible, so I didn't end up finishing it, but I enjoyed it a lot when I was playing it. Games that were my favorite as a kid, Super Smash Bros. I played the hell out of. If you had asked me as a kid, I probably would have said Ocarina of Time, but I hadn't actually played it. I watched my cousin play it, and I read him the strategy guide, and at the time, that was the first game that had any kind of like narrative and sense of adventure like in existence. So it was really special, and seeing it back then, I recognized it as, wow, this is something that's truly different and interesting. But having said that, I never played through more than like the first 3 dungeons, and now I'm playing it on the 3DS, and I just don't really care for it that much. Just the whole sense of adventure and the sense of narrative has been now done so much better by other games that it's hard to go back and play Ocarina of Time. And I don't really have, I don't know, I'm good at eschewing the nostalgia goggles to go, this kind of is annoying, So anyway, I also never really got to play Majora's Mask, but I always wanted to. So one of these days I'm going to like legit play the fuck out of a bunch of old N64 games. I still have a ton. I really want to play like Yoshi Story, which I just bought for Victor for Christmas. Kirby 64, The Crystal Shards is a classic. So there's a lot of great N64 games I want to play more of. Agent Abacus 01, what are your thoughts on minimalism in storytelling, or for that matter, in the arts? I think there's a lot to be said for the effectiveness of minimalism and how it can stir up emotions in someone. I think subtlety kind of creates density, where because, like, let's say, I guess to me, when it comes to minimalism, because I don't like minimalism just by itself because of the fact that it's like, let's say I look at like the minimalist pony art, right, where it's showing like something where it's just like the outline or like just the colors of the pony, and it evokes the emotion of the pony, and that's cool. I love what that says about the mind and everything, but would I rather see that than some kind of incredibly detailed piece of art? No, I'd rather see the incredibly detailed art, that looks really cool. So what I like is subtlety stacked on top of itself. Like, if I was watching a show and the imagery is subtle and the dialogue is subtle and the music is subtle, then suddenly we have a lot of minimal ideas that are creating, each minimalist idea is creating a lot of emotion, and they're all stacked on top of each other. So now it's not minimalist anymore, now it's dense, but it's dense through a lot of subtlety. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I like. Like minimalist would be like to me, it's like the difference between listening to ambient noise, which I do enjoy. I like listening to ambient noise, but I'd rather listen to a doom metal song with ambient noise playing over it, and suddenly it's something super dense with ambient noise involved. So yeah. The Zombie asks, do you do forum RPs? Yes, I used to do them, and I used to run them back in the day. I don't hang out on forums anymore. I haven't been to a forum probably in 3 years. In my childhood, I spent a fuckload of time on forums, and now I hate them. But, yeah, I used to run forum RPs. Some of them were okay. SmashMat202 asks, what is your all-time favorite song? I've actually been working on my top 100 favorite songs of all time list, and I've been putting it off because of ponies, and because I keep finding new songs that should have been on the list, and I'm like, fuck, I screwed up. But the number 1 slot is A Meeting Place and Time by Woods of Ypres, which is spelled Ypres. So look that song up. It's about 8 minutes long. It's really awesome. Ooh, when are you going to do another thoroughly analyzing video games video? I really, really want to do more of them, but I haven't been playing any video games because of ponies. The games that it doesn't help that the ones I really want to do videos for are long as fuck. I really want to do this Mass Effect trilogy video, but playing the Mass Effect games again is going to be a long, arduous process, especially because replaying Mass Effect 1 is not easy when you've played through Mass Effect 2 and 3. Just mechanically, it's so much more dated. And I'm playing it on the PS3 now, and I'm realizing that the PS3 one is really fucking buggy. But anyway, if you want more of those, I did a few of them on my old channel that I haven't like re-uploaded or anything. But I've done a video for Nier, which look up, just type adventure action RPG into YouTube, and then either I did a video for Nier, a video for Castlevania Aria of Sorrow, a video for Xenoblade Chronicles, and a video for The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap. So I'll put links to them in the description. The audio and video quality are not as good as they are now, and I wasn't really being thorough about my analysis as much as I am in the new channel, but I think they're good videos. The Nier one especially is a really great video, so I definitely recommend that one. And the Castlevania Aria of Sorrow one's pretty good too. Anonymous asks, what's your favorite number? My favorite number is 8 because I was born on August 8th and I weighed 8 pounds and 8 ounces. So as far as I'm concerned, that makes it special. Kevin T asks, friend or foe? Apparently I answered foe because, as I mentioned in the part 1, this guy asked me like 100 questions. Gandalf or Dumbledore? Gandalf, are you even serious? Mac or PC? PC. Don't be fooled by the fact that I am using a MacBook. It has been boot camped. Oh, by the way, you like my pony stickers? You like my ponies? Anyway, do you like wrestling? If so, favorite superstar? I've never watched wrestling before. Straightedge. If you haven't gathered by now, I drink quite a bit. I also smoke sometimes. None of this is illegal, so I don't know if that makes me not straight edge, but, you know, I think straight edge means you don't drink and stuff, and I drink a lot. Hulk or Fight Club, which is the modern Jekyll and Hyde? I have no fucking idea. Why is your sword unbelievably dull? Because I'm being chased by a real army! Even dinosaurs are here, and they use bows and arrows! My sword is unbelievably dull! Go watch the anime Garzy's Wing. Watch it dubbed. It's all on YouTube. Just YouTube Garzy's Wing. Type that in right now into your Google search bar. I don't care if it takes you away from the video. Watch Garzy's Wing. You are going to die laughing. LOL, Dota, or Newerth? I haven't played any of them because they look way too fucking hard for me. Do you read webcomics? And I also hate point-and-click movement. Do you read webcomics? Which would you recommend? My favorite webcomic, not counting Homestuck, is probably Dinosaur Comics. Oh, I have a Panel 2 t-shirt from Dinosaur Comics. I realized I did not mention that in my favorite t-shirts section in the last video. So that's awesome. I also recommend the obvious choices. XKCD is really popular and it's great. Saturday Morning Breakfast Cereal, Hark a Vagrant. I haven't read any webcomics in a long time. I don't tend to keep up with them. I tend to like archive binge and then just leave. But those are some of my favorites. If you were a female, what would you like most and dislike most? Well, if I were a female, my entire course in life leading up to now would have been completely different. For all I know, female me has no siblings, has a stepdad, has no interest in cartoon ponies. The possibilities are literally endless. Twitter or Facebook? Well, my Twitter, or like I guess, I don't know if he means which or do I have. I have both. But my Twitter is actually linked in my YouTube channel, like a profile. Okay, so this is where I decided to cut out the rest of Kevin T's questions because I didn't have answers for them. Rafer4A asks, also, did you watch / read Fullmetal Alchemist? Yes, I have watched both series. I was really into the original when it was on TV, and then I finished it years later after I had seen Brotherhood, and the second half is awful, whereas Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood is fucking amazing all the way through. XXX Ultimus XXX asks, are your jimmies rustled? Nope, I finally got some sleep, and my jimmies were not rustled anymore at the time that I was writing this. If you could do anything ever mentioned or thought of, even once by anyone, what would it be? Become immortal. I want to be immortal. What the fuck? Oh, do you hate pears? No. Can anything escape a black hole? Probably. Here's a question. If the speed of sound is 1,484 meters per second, or maybe it's miles, and the speed of light is 299,792,458 miles per second, which is 202016.481132 bigger than the speed of sound, what would your theoretical hypothesis be for breaking the time barrier? So fast you accelerate past the law of time. That is 1 second per second, even if for a split second. To which I answered, x plus 2 to the 5th times 12 if x equals shut the hell up. Anonymous asks, how many push-ups can you do? With proper form, I can probably do like 20, maybe a second set of 10 before I die. I used to be a little better at push-ups, but not anymore. Anonymous says, nice Ellen Slayer banner. You play Terra? Also Realm? Yes, I play Terra. I'm a big fan. I just got back into the game the other day, but I got pulled away by this huge, massive AMA. The character I'm playing right now is called Sui Supernova. That would be SUI.supernova. And is on the Valley of Titans server. I think I'm level 22 right now. My main is Falario Fa, and I can't remember what server she's on now because they switched it. It's whatever the biggest PvE server is. She's on that. She's level 60. TBB asks, have you played Halo 4? Nope. I used to be a big fan of Halo back when Halo 2 came out. I played through the first two number of times on co-op and stuff. I didn't care for 3, and Reach is pretty awful. And I don't have an Xbox 360 anymore, so I can't play Halo 4. Have you played Lost Planet 1 or 2? I have not. I have watched people play them, but I have not played them myself. I've heard Lost Planet 2 is fucking awful. TBB asks, how would you want to die? Recently, one of my friends and I decided that we should have a big sword duel to the death when we're like 40 or whenever we decide we don't want to live anymore. And, which for him would be like any time. But he recently took fencing classes, so, yeah, we decided we would have we want it to be like the sword fight from the end of Rob Roy. Anonymous, who is better, Megadeth or Metallica? I'm going with Megadeth because I've never really been a fan of either band. But Metallica, I only know like a few songs that I like by them. Megadeth, I can actually listen to their whole albums. But I'll take Iron Maiden over both any day. Anonymous asks, have you seen Fairy Tail? No, I have not. Are you a nerd fighter? I do not know what that is. Do you like Panic at the Disco? I chime in with a haven't you people ever heard of? Closing the goddamn door, no, it's much better to fix these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. Just that song. That's the only one I know. Oh, Jesus. What age and gender do you want to be? I want to be the little girl. Do you like axolotls? I looked them up and they are weird as hell. Philip asks, has anyone really been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like? To which I responded, dude, you've got to be kidding me. I've been further even more decided to use even go need to do look more as anyone can. Can you really be far even as decided half as much to use go wish for that? My guess is that when one really been far even as decided wants to use even go want, it is then that he has really been far as decided to use even go want to do look more like. It's just common sense. Anonymous asks, how do you do your hair? I touch it constantly. Seriously, I can't stop touching my hair. And that's it. That's actually the end of the personal questions and non-MLP related questions section. If there is a question I did not answer and it's not completely fucking ridiculous, you can ask it in the comments of this video and I will probably answer it. So see you in part 3, which, that reminds me, part 3 is only going to be on the Digibrony After Dark channel. So, unless you are subscribed to Digibrony After Dark, then wait for me to add an annotation to this video, or, post a link in my feed or something. But yeah, go to Digibrony After Dark if you want to be able to see the final section, which will only be one video in this gigantic, huge, massive Q&A. So that's me signing off then. Here's all your annotations. Click on them to watch all the rest of the thing. Let me let this cat